God's chosen ones. God is guiding your breakthrough. Divine help is here, chosen one. Stop. Right now, do you feel that invisible pull, that gentle tug on your spirit that brought you here? You didn't stumble across this video by accident. You didn't just happen to click. Someone is guiding you through the silence. Listen carefully. The silence you've been walking through. The empty spaces where you thought God went quiet. That wasn't abandonment. That was guidance. Hidden guidance. Sacred guidance. Divine GPS, recalibrating your entire destiny while you thought you were lost. Here's what 97% of believers will never understand. God's loudest instructions often come wrapped in his quietest moments. While you've been crying, "God, where are you?" he's been whispering, "Child, I'm repositioning you." Right now, this very second, something is shifting in the spiritual realm. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Your breakthrough isn't coming, it's already walking toward you. And the silence you've been fighting, that's not your enemy, that's your escort. Chosen one, if you feel that invisible hand on your shoulder right now, if something deep in your chest is stirring as these words hit your spirit, if you sense this moment is a divine appointment disguised as a YouTube video, then heaven just confirmed what hell tried to hide. You are not forgotten, you are not behind, you are not lost, you are being guided. If you feel something supernatural leading you right now, if your spirit recognizes the voice behind these words, don't scroll away. Stay until the end, because what I'm about to reveal will explain why the silence felt so heavy, and why your breakthrough sounds like footsteps in the dark. Comment below, "I am listening for God's guidance." Let heaven know you're awake. Let the angels witness your yes, because chosen one, someone has been waiting for you to finally listen. Dear one, precious soul, are you tired of waiting? Are you exhausted from feeling like you're moving backwards while everyone else races ahead? Are you wondering if God has somehow forgotten your address? Listen to me. Really listen. You're not slowing down. You're being prepared. You're not falling behind. You're being positioned. You're not being rejected. You're being refined. Every single day you felt stuck. Every morning you've woken up wondering, when will it be my turn? Every night you've cried yourself to sleep, feeling forgotten. That wasn't God ignoring you. That was God incubating you. See, we live in a world that worships speed. Fast food, fast internet, fast results. But God operates on a different frequency entirely. He doesn't work in microwave time. He works in masterpiece time. Think about this. When a farmer plants corn in Iowa, does he dig it up after 3 days to check if it's growing? When an eagle builds her nest in the Colorado Rockies, does she rush her eaglets out before their wings are strong? When a diamond forms 200 miles beneath the earth in Arkansas, does it complain about the pressure? No. Because nature understands what we've forgotten. Preparation time is never wasted time. Waiting time is never lost time. Incubation time is never stolen time. You're not being punished, precious one. You're being processed. You're not being overlooked. You're being overprotected. You're not being delayed. You're being developed. Listen to what David wrote in Psalm 27:14. Wait for the Lord, be strong, and take heart, and wait for the Lord. That word wait in Hebrew, it's kava. It doesn't mean sit around doing nothing. It means to bind together, to strengthen, to collect power. You're not in a waiting room, chosen one. You're in a war room. You're not on the bench. You're in boot camp. Every single delay you've endured, every door that slammed shut in your face, every opportunity that slipped through your fingers, that wasn't rejection, that was redirection. Because here's what hell doesn't want you to know. You're not a regular arrow, you're a specialized arrow, and specialized arrows require specialized preparation. Right now, this very moment. You are the arrow being pulled back in God's bow. And yes, it hurts. Yes, it feels like you're going in the wrong direction. Yes, it feels like you're being stretched beyond your breaking point. But listen to me carefully. The further back you're pulled, the farther you'll fly. The longer you're held, the more accurate you'll be. The tighter the tension, the more powerful your impact. Moses wasn't ready to face Pharaoh at 20. He needed 40 years in the wilderness first. David wasn't ready to wear the crown at 17. He needed 13 years of caves and betrayal first. Paul wasn't ready to write Romans after his Damascus Road experience. He needed 3 years in the Arabian desert first. And you, precious, chosen, irreplaceable you're not ready for your assignment at this level yet, but you're getting closer. Every tear you've cried in secret, that's been watering the soil of your calling. Every prayer you've whispered in darkness, that's been strengthening your spiritual muscles. Every rejection you've faced, that's been developing your discernment. You think you're being held back, but God sees you being held together. You think you're being forgotten, but God knows you're being formed. What if every delay has been divine calculation? What if every no has been protecting you from premature exposure? What if every closed door has been keeping you from settling for less than your destiny? Genesis 8:22 promises us, as long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest will never cease. Seed time always comes before harvest, always. And chosen one, your seed time is almost over. Can you feel it? That restlessness in your spirit, that stirring at 3 a.m. when you can't sleep. That's not anxiety, that's anticipation. You're not slowing down. You're being prepared for acceleration that will make up for every lost year in a single season. But the question that will determine everything is this: will you trust the process long enough to see the purpose? Because what's coming next will reveal exactly why God needed you in the dark before he could trust you with the light. You have heard the whisper, though no one else was in the room. You have felt the presence, though everyone said you were alone. You have seen the signs, though others called them coincidence. Dear chosen one, you are not losing your mind. You have experienced the sacred, though the world told you it was imagination. You have heard your name called, though no human voice spoke it. You have felt that gentle touch on your shoulder, though no hand was there. And late at night, when the house is quiet and the world has gone to sleep, you have heard it again. That voice, that call, that unmistakable sound of heaven breaking through the veil. Listen to me carefully. What you've been experiencing isn't mental illness. It isn't wishful thinking. It isn't your imagination running wild in your golden years. It's divine communication. You have felt God's hand move in your life, though doctors called it luck. You have witnessed impossible timing, though skeptics called it chance. You have experienced supernatural peace in the middle of chaos, though no one understood how you stayed so calm. The Bible tells us in John 10:27, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." You hear it because you belong to him. You sense it because you're tuned to his frequency. Like an old radio in your basement that suddenly picks up a distant station, your spirit has been calibrated to receive signals others can't detect. But here's what breaks my heart. You have doubted what you heard, though every fiber of your being knew it was real. You have questioned your experiences, though they changed everything. You have stayed silent about the miraculous, though it happened right in front of you. Why? Because the world convinced you that God only speaks to pastors, that visions only come to prophets, that divine encounters only happen to people with theology degrees. That's a lie from the pit of hell. You have been chosen to hear what others miss, though they sit in church every Sunday. You have been selected to see what others overlook, though they pray every day. You have been marked to experience what others only read about, though they've memorized every verse. Remember 3 months ago when you were facing that impossible situation, and suddenly out of nowhere you knew exactly what to do? That wasn't intuition, that was revelation. Remember last winter when you were so broken, so lost, so ready to give up, and you felt those invisible arms wrap around you in your living room? That wasn't your imagination. That was intervention. You have heard your departed mother's voice, though she's been gone for years. You have felt your late husband's presence, though the funeral was decades ago. You have sensed angels in your bedroom, though no one believes in such things anymore. The book of Hebrews reminds us, "Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by so doing some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it." What if I told you that every supernatural experience you've had, every divine whisper you've heard, every sacred moment you've lived through, was God preparing you for this exact moment? You have been trained in the spirit realm. Though you thought you were just getting older, you have been educated in heavenly wisdom. Though you never went to seminary, you have been prepared for a purpose. Though retirement was supposed to be your rest, but here's the shocking truth. They don't want you to know. Your most powerful years aren't behind you. They're right in front of you. You have been hearing the call. Though the world says you're past your prime, you have been receiving downloads. Though society says you should be winding down, you have been activated for assignment. Though everyone expects you to fade away, God doesn't retire his chosen ones. He promotes them. Moses was 80 when he parted the Red Sea. Abraham was 100 when he received his promise. Anna was 84 when she prophesied over baby Jesus. Your age isn't your limitation, it's your authorization. You have been hearing heaven's frequency, though hell tried to jam the signal. You have been receiving divine transmissions, though doubt tried to block the reception. You have been chosen for this moment, though fear whispered you were too old, too late, too ordinary. If you felt every word I've spoken, if you recognize your story in these revelations, if something deep in your spirit is screaming, "Yes, that's me," then comment below, "I hear it too." Let heaven know you're finally ready to stop doubting what you've been experiencing. Let the angels witness that you're done hiding your sacred encounters, because what I'm about to reveal next will explain why you've been hearing these whispers and what God is preparing you to do with this divine communication. The breakthrough isn't just coming, chosen one. You are the breakthrough. But first, you need to understand why you were chosen to hear what others cannot. Chosen one. You think that wall in front of you is your enemy. You think God forgot your address. You think heaven hung up the phone. But what if I told you? What if I shocked you with this truth? That wall wasn't built by your mistakes. It wasn't constructed by bad luck. It wasn't erected by the enemy. What if God himself built that wall? You think you're being blocked, but actually, you're being redirected. You think you hit a dead end, but actually, you found a revolving door. You think you failed, but actually, you were repositioned. Listen to me, dear one. When the Israelites stood at the Red Sea with Pharaoh's army breathing down their necks, they thought they were trapped. They thought God led them into a death sentence. They thought the water was their grave. But that impossible situation, that dead end, that wall of water, it became their highway to freedom. Exodus 14:21 says it plain as day. The Lord drove the sea back with a strong east wind and turned it into dry land. God didn't remove the obstacle. He transformed it into the pathway. You've been staring at your Red Sea, crying, "God, why won't you move this mountain?" But chosen one, he's not moving the mountain. He's moving you through it. Think about this. Every door that slammed in your face last year. Every relationship that ended without explanation. Every job that rejected you. Every opportunity that slipped through your fingers. What if those weren't failures? What if those were course corrections? What if God was saving you from settling for less than His best? You thought you were being punished, but actually, you were being protected. You thought you were being overlooked, but actually, you were being prepared. Dear one, listen carefully. When David was running from King Saul, hiding in caves, dodging spears, he could have thought, God, you anointed me king, but I'm living like a fugitive. But those cave years, those hiding years, those wall years, they weren't punishment. They were preparation. 1 Samuel 24:10 shows us David refusing to kill Saul when he had the chance. Why? Because the cave taught him character. The wall taught him patience. The dead end taught him divine timing. Your wall isn't your enemy, chosen one. Your wall is your classroom. You think you're stuck, but actually, you're being schooled. Joseph thought the pit was his grave, but actually, it was his launching pad. Moses thought the desert was his exile, but actually, it was his seminary. Jesus thought the cross was his defeat, but actually, it was his victory. Right now, this very moment, while you're feeling blocked, frustrated, stuck, heaven is engineering your breakthrough. While you're asking, when will this wall come down? God is saying, when you learn what it came to teach, you see, chosen one. Others see a dead end. God calls it a revolving door. Others see rejection. God calls it redirection. Others see failure. God calls it fertilizer. How many of you have been praying for God to remove your obstacles, when maybe, just maybe, He's waiting for you to walk through them? How many of you have been begging for an easier path, when the path you're on is exactly where you need to be? Proverbs 16:9 cuts straight to the heart. A man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. Your heart planned smooth sailing, but God directed you through the storm. Because smooth seas never made skilled sailors. It's not a barrier, chosen one. It's a direction. It's not a dead end. It's a divine detour. It's not punishment. It's positioning. If you're staring at a wall right now, if you feel blocked, stuck, rejected, comment below. The door is revolving. Because when you shift your perspective, when you stop fighting the wall and start learning from it, when you realize that rejection is often protection, that's when something extraordinary happens. That's when the wall doesn't just move, it transforms into the very foundation of your breakthrough. But there's something else about your wall that hell doesn't want you to discover. Something that will change everything about how you see your current situation. Because chosen one, what you're about to learn will prove that your greatest opposition has always been your greatest opportunity. Chosen one, someone is watching you right now, not to judge you, not to criticize your stumbles, but to learn how to stand. You think this battle is just about you, don't you? You think this breakthrough you're fighting for, this mountain you're climbing, this valley you're walking through, you think it's personal. But what if I told you that someone else's destiny is tied to your decision right here, right now? What if I told you that there's a person, maybe someone you've never even met, who will never find their way unless you find yours first? You are not just fighting for your breakthrough. You are the bridge, and someone is standing on the other side, waiting for you to cross, so they can follow. Listen to me carefully. Every time you've wanted to quit, every night you've cried yourself to sleep, every moment you've whispered, God, I can't take any more, there was someone in the spiritual realm watching. Not angels, not demons, people, future generations, your children's children, souls you'll never meet this side of heaven, and they're all asking the same question. Will they make it through? Will they break the curse? Will they be the one who finally crosses over. You see, chosen one, your resilience isn't just your testimony, it's their roadmap. Your survival isn't just your victory, it's their permission slip. The Bible tells us in Hebrews 12:1, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses," you know what that means. They're watching, the ones who came before, and the ones yet to come. They're all waiting to see if you'll finish what you started. But here's what will shake you to your core. If you quit now, if you give up here, if you let this mountain defeat you, the bridge collapses, not just for you, for everyone behind you. Your grandmother who prayed over your bloodline but never lived to see the answer. Your great-great-grandchildren who will either inherit freedom or bondage based on what you do in this moment. That co-worker who's been secretly watching how you handle pressure. That neighbor who's been wondering if faith really works. They're all connected to this moment, this decision, this step you're about to take, or not take. You think you're tired, you think you've carried enough. What about Moses, 40 years in the wilderness, leading 1,000,000 complainers who wanted to go back to slavery every single day? Did he quit when his arms got heavy, holding up that staff? No, because he knew it wasn't about him. What about Esther? "If I perish, I perish." She risked everything, not for herself, but for her people. What about Jesus himself in the Garden of Gethsemane, sweating drops of blood, crying, "Father, if there's another way"? But then, "Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done." He didn't stay on that cross for himself. He stayed for you, for me, for every soul that would ever need saving. And now, chosen one, now it's your turn to be the bridge. Someone behind you is praying right now. "God, send me a sign that I can make it through." Someone behind you is saying, "If they can survive this, maybe I can too." Someone behind you is holding on by a thread, waiting to see if you'll show them how to tie a knot and hang on. Do you understand the weight of this moment? Do you feel the responsibility? This isn't just about your comfort anymore. This isn't just about your feelings. This isn't just about whether you feel like fighting today. This is about legacy. This is about bloodlines. This is about breaking generational curses that have plagued your family for decades. This is about being the ancestor your descendants thank God for. So I'm asking you right now, will you cross the bridge? Will you take the step? Will you be the one who finally breaks through? Or will you let fear convince you to turn back, leaving everyone behind you stranded in the wilderness forever? Because here's the truth that will either motivate you or terrify you. If you don't cross, nobody behind you can. If you don't break through, the door stays locked for them too. If you don't overcome, they inherit your defeat. Someone is counting on you, chosen one. Someone you may never meet is praying you'll have the courage to take this step. If you understand that your breakthrough isn't just about you, if you realize that someone else's freedom is tied to your obedience, if you're ready to be the bridge they've been waiting for, comment below, "I will not break the bridge," because the moment you type those words, the moment you make that declaration, heaven mobilizes, angels take position, and your breakthrough stops being a possibility and becomes inevitable. But first, you need to understand exactly who is waiting for you to cross, and why your next step will echo through eternity. Chosen one. Let me tell you something that's going to shatter every lie you've believed about why people pull away from you. They're not avoiding you because you're wrong. They're avoiding you because your light is too clear, and clarity is always painful to the lost. You've been carrying this weight, haven't you? This crushing question that follows you into every room. Why don't I fit in? Why do conversations die when I speak truth? Why do people seem uncomfortable around me? Dear one, listen to me with your whole heart. You're not being left behind. You're being set apart. Every person who walked away, every friend who grew distant, every family member who started treating you different. They didn't hate you. They feared your light. Here's what the enemy doesn't want you to understand. Opposition isn't proof you're off track. Opposition is confirmation you're right on target. Think about it. When was the last time darkness attacked a light bulb that wasn't shining? When was the last time the world fought against someone who posed no threat? Jesus himself said in John 15:18, "If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first." Not if they misunderstand you, not if they reject you, when they hate you. Because, chosen one, you are a mirror, and their soul is not ready to see what's reflected back. Your very presence convicts. Your peace exposes their chaos. Your faith highlights their fear. Your integrity reveals their compromise. You don't even have to say a word, and that terrifies them. I want you to think back. How many times have you dimmed your light to make others comfortable? How many times have you apologized for being too much? How many times have you questioned if something was wrong with you because people couldn't handle your fire? Stop. Right now, there is nothing wrong with you. You know what Moses didn't realize when he came down from Mount Sinai. Exodus 34:29 tells us his face was so radiant that the Israelites were afraid to come near him. They couldn't look at him, not because he was cursed, but because he was chosen. The glory of God was so thick on his life that it made others uncomfortable. And Moses, poor Moses, he started wearing a veil. He covered his light to make them feel safe. Chosen one, are you wearing a veil? Are you hiding your fire because people can't handle the heat? Are you shrinking your spirit because your growth makes others feel small? What if I told you that your loneliness, your isolation, that feeling of being misunderstood, what if that's not punishment? What if that's testing? What if God is confirming your light by showing you who can't stand to be near it? Listen to me carefully. Every Pharisee who plotted against Jesus, every family member who thought Noah was crazy, every person who mocked David while he was still in the fields, they weren't just random opposition. They were divine confirmation. The resistance you face isn't evidence that you're walking the wrong path. The resistance you face is proof that you're walking the narrow path. Matthew 7:14 reminds us, "Small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it." Few, not many. Few. You're not supposed to have a crowd. You're supposed to have a calling, and here's the revelation that's going to change everything. Your opposition isn't personal, it's prophetic. Every person who rejected Joseph confirmed he was destined for the palace. Every giant that came against David proved he was anointed for the throne. Every attack on Paul's ministry validated his apostolic authority. And every person who can't handle your presence, every relationship that couldn't survive your growth, every door that closed in your face, that wasn't rejection, that was selection. God was clearing your path, removing distractions, protecting your anointing from contamination. Because, chosen one, you carry something sacred, and sacred things can't be exposed to everything. If you've ever been hurt because you're not like them, if you've ever felt the sting of being too spiritual or too intense, if you've ever wondered why your light seems to threaten instead of attract, comment below, "I'm set apart." Let heaven witness your declaration. Let the angels record your acceptance, because the same God who set you apart is the same God who's about to set you up for everything your isolation was preparing you to carry. But first, you need to understand why the silence felt so heavy. Chosen one, let me tell you something that's going to shake you to your core. You think you're afraid of failing, but that's not what's keeping you trapped. You're terrified of succeeding. Stay with me here. because what I'm about to expose will make you face the truth you've been running from your entire life. Every time God opened a door, you found an excuse not to walk through it. Every time opportunity knocked, you pretended you weren't home. Every time your spirit whispered, "This is it," you silenced it with doubt. Why? Because deep down, in the hidden chambers of your heart, you know what success means. It means responsibility. It means visibility. It means no more hiding behind your "I'm not ready" excuses. It means becoming everything God said you were, and everything you've convinced yourself you're not. You've made peace with your prison, haven't you? You've decorated your cage with humility. You've called your fear wisdom. You've labeled your disobedience waiting on God's timing. But here's the brutal truth. God stopped waiting on you years ago. He's been standing at the door, knocking. While you've been hiding under the bed of, "What if I'm not worthy?" Listen to what Jesus said in Matthew 25:25. "I was afraid and went out and hid your gold in the ground." The servant wasn't punished for failing. He was condemned for hiding, for burying what was meant to multiply, for choosing safety over stewardship. That's you, isn't it? You've buried your gifts 6 feet under someday. You've hidden your calling in the grave of "when I'm ready." You've entombed your purpose in the tomb of "what will people think?" But let me ask you something that's going to cut deeper than a surgeon's blade. What if the reason you keep sabotaging yourself? What if the reason you keep finding problems with every opportunity? What if the reason you keep talking yourself out of breakthrough is because you're more comfortable being the victim than the victor? What if you're addicted to struggle because success would mean losing your identity? Think about it. For decades, you've been the one who's waiting, the one who's struggling, the one who's been overlooked. But if God suddenly elevated you, if doors started flying open, if favor started following you, who would you be then? You'd have to face the terrifying truth that you were always meant for greatness. And that scares you more than poverty ever could. Dear one, listen to me. You are not chained by circumstances. You are chained by choice. You are not held back by doors. You are held back by decisions. The key to your breakthrough isn't in God's hand. It's in yours. You think you're waiting for God to move, but God is waiting for you to receive. Because here's what nobody told you about being chosen. It's not about being perfect. It's about being available. It's not about being flawless. It's about being faithful. Proverbs 18:16 says, "A person's gift makes room for them and brings them before the great." Your gift has been making room, but you keep refusing to enter. The breakthrough you've been praying for, the elevation you've been crying for, the vindication you've been waiting for, it's been standing outside your comfort zone this entire time. And you beautiful, chosen, terrified soul, you've been peeking through the curtains, afraid to answer the door. But today, right now, this moment, heaven is asking you one final question. Are you ready to stop being afraid of your own glory? Are you ready to stop running from your own calling? Are you ready to open the door you've been guarding with fear? Because, chosen one, the only thing standing between you and your breakthrough isn't the devil, isn't the circumstances, isn't the timing, it's the mirror. If you're ready, if you're finally ready to stop hiding from your own destiny, comment below, "I am ready to open the door," because what I'm about to show you next will reveal exactly why God allowed you to stay hidden for so long, and why your season of emergence is about to shatter every ceiling you thought was permanent. Dear chosen one, you've been waiting for thunder, haven't you? Scanning the skies for lightning bolts, listening for the rumble of divine intervention, expecting God to show up like a Hollywood blockbuster. But here's what 20 years of walking with broken souls has taught me. Help doesn't always arrive with fanfare. Sometimes, most times, it whispers, like dew on morning grass, silent, invisible, but absolutely essential. You see, dear friend, we've been conditioned by our culture to expect God to move like a superhero movie, big, loud, unmistakable. But listen to how the Almighty spoke to Elijah in 1 Kings 19:12. And after the earthquake a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire, and after the fire a still small voice. A still small voice. Not thunder, not fireworks, not a cosmic light show, a whisper. What if I told you that you've been rescued 100 times this year and never even knew it? What if that sudden peace that washed over you at 3 a.m. last Tuesday wasn't just exhaustion finally winning? What if that phone call that came exactly when you needed to hear a familiar voice wasn't coincidence? What if that check that arrived in the mail just as your bank account hit zero wasn't luck? You've been looking for angels with wings, beloved, but help came disguised as a good night's sleep after months of insomnia. Help showed up as your neighbor bringing extra groceries without you asking. Help appeared as that song on the radio that made you cry and somehow made you feel less alone. The God of the universe, the one who hung the stars and named every constellation. He doesn't need to shout to save you. His rescue missions are often silent. But here's what breaks my heart, chosen one. You almost missed it, didn't you? You almost dismissed those moments as just life happening. You nearly wrote off those gentle interventions as random events. How many times has heaven moved on your behalf, and you credited it to chance? How many divine appointments have you labeled as good timing? How many miraculous provisions have you explained away with logic? Psalm 46:10 commands us to be still and know that I am God. Be still. Not be loud, not be demanding, not be dramatic. Be still. Because in the stillness, in the silence, in the sacred spaces between your desperate prayers and your restless sleep, that's where He works, that's where He moves, that's where He rescues. Dear friend, I need you to understand something that could change everything. You haven't been abandoned in the silence, you've been sheltered in it. While you were crying, God, where are you? He was positioning people in your path. While you were pleading, Lord, I need help, He was orchestrating solutions you couldn't see. While you were whispering, I don't think you hear me, He was moving mountains in boardrooms, bank offices, and hospital corridors you'll never know about. The dew doesn't announce itself, beloved, it just appears, silent, gentle, life-giving. And when the sun rises, the grass is no longer dying. What if you looked back over this past year, and instead of focusing on what didn't happen, you started counting what did? What if you stopped waiting for the earthquake and started noticing the still small voice? What if you realized that you've been carried, guided, protected, and provided for in ways so subtle, so gentle, so perfectly timed that only heaven could have orchestrated it? You weren't looking for the wrong God, chosen one. You were looking for God in the wrong way. He's been there all along, in the silence, in the stillness, in the sacred spaces where angels work without making a sound. If this truth is washing over your spirit right now, if you're beginning to see His fingerprints on moments you thought were meaningless, if you're realizing you've been rescued more times than you ever knew, comment below, I was saved in silence, because chosen one, the same God who has been guiding you through whispers, is about to speak a little louder. The same heaven that has been moving in silence is about to shift some things in the open. But first, you had to learn to hear Him in the quiet places. You had to discover that His help doesn't always announce itself with trumpets. Sometimes, most times, it arrives like morning dew, silent, sure, sacred. And now that your spiritual ears are opening, now that you're learning to recognize His gentle touch, There's something else he wants you to understand about the season you're entering, something about why the silence is about to give way to sound. Chosen one, you are standing at the threshold, right here, right now, this very moment. The door that's been sealed for decades is cracking open, but here's the truth that'll shake you to your core. God will not push you through. He opened it, he called you, he positioned you, but the step, that's on you. You feel it, don't you? That invisible line drawn in the sand of your spirit on one side. Everything familiar, everything safe, everything small. On the other side, the unknown, the uncomfortable, the unlimited. Joshua felt this exact moment when God said, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord, your God, will be with you wherever you go." Joshua 1:9. God didn't say the journey would be easy. He said he'd be with you, but listen carefully. That door, it's not going to stay open forever. Opportunity has an expiration date. Divine appointments don't reschedule themselves. You've been circling this mountain for how long? 40 years, like the Israelites who turned an 11-day journey into 4 decades of wandering. How many more nights are you going to lie awake knowing there's something more? How many more mornings are you going to wake up and feel that ache in your chest, that divine dissatisfaction, that holy restlessness that screams, "This isn't all there is"? Dear one, precious one, chosen one. What if I told you that every person you admire, every giant of faith you look up to, stood at this exact same threshold Moses stood at the burning bush, with a stuttering tongue and trembling hands? David stood before Goliath with nothing but a slingshot and 5 smooth stones. Esther stood before the king knowing one wrong word could cost her everything, but they stepped. They didn't step because they felt ready. They stepped because they heard the call. And right now, heaven is holding its breath, waiting, watching, because you, dear soul, are the soldier who's been called out of formation. You're the one standing at attention while the commander-in-chief of the universe is saying, "This is your hour, this is your moment, this is your move." But what if you don't step? What if you let fear win again? What if you choose the familiar prison over the unfamiliar promise? What if you're standing 12 inches away from your breakthrough, and you turn around in Matthew 10:10, Peter stepped out of the boat and walked on water. But here's what most people miss. The other 11 disciples stayed in the boat. They watched, they waited, they wondered. But only Peter walked, chosen one. Which one are you going to be, the one who watches or the one who walks? Because I'm telling you something that might terrify you. If you don't step through this door, it may not open again. Not like this, not with this clarity, not with this divine momentum behind you. The enemy has been hoping, praying, that you'd hesitate just long enough for the moment to pass. He's been whispering, "Wait until you're ready. Wait until you have more money. Wait until the kids are older. Wait until you feel more qualified." But heaven is thundering back, "Now, now, now." You want to know why the warfare has been so intense lately? You want to know why everything's been falling apart around you? Because hell recognizes what you're about to step into. They see the crown that's been prepared for your head. They see the territory you're about to take. They see the lives you're about to impact, but they cannot stop you from stepping. Only you can do that. So I'm asking you, no, I'm challenging you. Are you going to spend another year, another month, another day, living beneath your calling? Are you going to keep settling for survival when you were designed for dominion? Are you going to keep playing small when God fashioned you for greatness? The door is open. Your name is being called. Your moment has arrived. The question that will determine your destiny is this: will you step if you know that today is the day you cannot hesitate anymore. If something in your spirit is screaming, "This is it." If you're ready to stop watching and start walking, type, "I'm stepping in." Let heaven witness your yes. Let hell hear your declaration. Let your future self thank you for this moment of holy courage, because chosen one, on the other side of that step, everything changes. Everything. But what happens when you step and the ground you thought was solid starts to shift beneath your feet? Chosen one, the clock just struck midnight in heaven's war room and you're running out of time. Tell me something. Have you been waking up at 3:33 a.m.? Has 11:11 been following you like a shadow? Do you keep seeing 777, 444, 222 everywhere you turn? Your morning coffee receipt, your gas pump total, your phone battery percentage, the same numbers, over and over and over. You thought it was coincidence. You brushed it off. You told yourself you were seeing things. Dear friend, those aren't coincidences. Those are emergency signals from the throne room of God. Heaven is in panic mode right now, because what's about to happen in your life, what's about to shift, what's about to break open, the enemy sees it coming, and he's throwing everything he's got to keep you asleep. Listen to me carefully. The repeating numbers aren't random. The 3 a.m. wake-ups aren't insomnia. The dreams that feel more real than reality. The sudden urge to pray when you're driving. The chills that run down your spine during worship. These are distress signals from heaven. God is trying to get your attention because time is running out. You see, chosen one, most people live their entire lives and never hear heaven's alarm clock. They sleep through every signal. They ignore every supernatural nudge. They explain away every divine interruption. But not you. You're here, right now, in this moment, because your spirit recognizes the sound of eternity calling your name. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says there's a time for everything under heaven, but here's what the church won't tell you. Sometimes, some seasons, some divine windows, they don't stay open forever. Isaiah 55:6 warns us, "Seek the Lord while he may be found, call upon him while he is near." While he is near. Not when it's convenient, not when you feel ready. While he is near. And I'm telling you right now, with every fiber of prophetic authority in my being, he is near, closer than he's ever been. The veil between heaven and earth is tissue thin around your life right now. But here's the terrifying truth. This window, this supernatural season you're in, this divine positioning, it has an expiration date. You think you have time. You think you can process this later. You think you can sleep on it, pray about it, discuss it with friends. Dear chosen one, while you're thinking, heaven's clock is ticking backward. Every ignored signal, every dismissed dream, every explained away miracle. It's not just missed opportunity, it's countdown acceleration. Remember the 10 virgins in Matthew 25:5 were ready when the bridegroom came. 5 were almost ready. Almost ready meant completely unprepared. The door shut, the window closed, the moment passed. I need you to understand something that could change your entire destiny. The signs you've been seeing, the numbers stalking your daily life, the supernatural interruptions to your sleep, they're not just signals, they're countdown timers. Heaven is literally counting down to your breakthrough moment. And every time you see 11:11, every time you wake at 3:33, every time 787 appears on your screen, that's heaven saying we're getting closer. Get ready, get ready, get ready. But chosen one, what happens when the countdown reaches 0? What happens when heaven stops sending signals because the moment arrived? You don't get to rewind the clock. You don't get to restart the countdown. You don't get to ask for more time. The signal has come. Not next week. Not when you're more spiritual. not when your life is perfect. Now, right now, in this very second, heaven's war room is watching your response. Angels are holding their breath. The Father is leaning forward on his throne. Because what you do in the next few minutes, what you choose in this divine moment, it doesn't just affect your tomorrow, it affects your forever. But before you make that choice, before you respond to heaven's signal, there's something else you need to know about why this countdown started, and why you, specifically you, are the one receiving these emergency signals from the throne room of God. If you've seen the signs, if 333 has become your midnight visitor, if 1111 makes your heart skip, right, I saw the signal. Let heaven know you're finally listening, because Chosen One, the countdown just reached its final hour. Chosen One, I see you. I see the exhaustion in your spirit. I see how you've been carrying weight that was never meant for your shoulders alone. You've been running, haven't you? Running from disappointment, running from broken promises, running from the fear that maybe, just maybe, you've been forgotten. But what if I told you? What if I told you that every step you've been running has been running you straight into the arms of divine intervention? Dear one, you don't need to prove your worth anymore. You don't need to earn your breakthrough. You don't need to convince heaven that you're ready. Help is here, right now. But it's waiting for something so simple, so sacred, that most people miss it entirely. It's waiting for you to nod, just nod. Not with your head, with your heart. Jesus said in Matthew 11:28, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Did you catch that? All who are weary, not the perfect, not the qualified, not the ones who have it all figured out. The weary, that's you, isn't it? Weary of fighting battles no one sees. Weary of praying prayers that seem to echo into emptiness. Weary of believing for breakthrough while watching delay after delay pile up like unpaid bills on your kitchen table. But here's what the enemy doesn't want you to understand. Your weariness isn't disqualification, it's qualification. God doesn't call the rested, he calls the weary. He doesn't summon the strong, he invites the broken. How many more nights are you going to lie awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, wondering if this is all there is? How many more mornings are you going to wake up and feel that crushing weight before your feet even hit the floor? How many more times are you going to stand in your mirror and whisper, "God, do you even see me?" He does. He sees every tear that's never been witnessed. He hears every prayer you thought went unanswered. He knows every night you've cried yourself to sleep, feeling like you're drowning in a world that demands you keep swimming. Psalm 34:18 declares, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Close, not distant, not distracted, close. Imagine this. There's an arm stretched out toward you right now, a divine arm, scarred hands reaching through the invisible realm into your living room, your bedroom, wherever you're sitting right now. But here's the thing about divine intervention. It never forces itself. It waits, it hovers, it extends, but it waits for you to open your hand. You see, Chosen One, the miracle you've been praying for, the breakthrough you've been believing for, the help you've been crying out for. It's not distant, it's not delayed, it's not denied. It's here, right here, suspended in this moment, waiting for the simplest act of surrender you've ever been asked to perform. But what if you miss it? What if you're so used to struggling that you can't recognize rescue when it whispers your name? What if you're so accustomed to carrying everything alone that you've forgotten how to let someone else hold the weight? Dear one, listen to me. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to figure out how it works or when it will manifest or what it will look like. You just have to nod, say yes, whisper, "I need you," and heaven will do the rest. Isaiah 30:15 says, "In quietness and trust is your strength, not in fighting, not in figuring, in trust." Right now, something is shifting in the spiritual realm. Can you feel it? That gentle pressure on your chest, that stirring in your spirit, that's not anxiety, dear one. That's invitation. If you feel it, if something deep in your soul is saying, "Yes, I'm tired of carrying this alone," if you're ready to stop running and start receiving, if you're willing to open your hand and take hold of divine help, comment below, "I do." Two simple words that will shift the atmosphere around your life. Two words that tell heaven, "I'm ready to stop resisting and start receiving." Because what happens when you finally nod, when you finally say yes to divine intervention, that's where the real miracle begins. And that miracle, it's already got your name on it. But there's something else you need to know about this divine help that's reaching for you. Something about the timing of why it's happening right now. Chosen one. From this moment forward, you are no longer the same person. Heaven has just sealed the door behind you. You have crossed over into a realm where miracles aren't stories. They're your daily bread. Into a dimension where breakthrough isn't a prayer, it's your inheritance. Into a space where God's voice isn't a whisper, it's a roar that shakes nations. Irreversible, unstoppable, undeniable. Let me tell you what just happened in the spirit realm while you've been listening. Angels have been repositioned around your life. Demonic assignments have been canceled. Heaven's calendar has been updated, with your name written in bold letters across the next season. But here's what's going to shock you about this transition. You didn't just stumble into this moment. You were summoned into it. For the last 18 minutes and 37 seconds, while you thought you were just watching a video, God has been performing spiritual surgery on your destiny. He's been cutting away everything that belonged to your old season. Every doubt that said you weren't qualified, every fear that whispered you weren't chosen, every lie that convinced you that you'd missed your moment, gone, severed, burned in the fire of divine revelation. Listen to me very carefully. The person who started watching this video no longer exists. That version of you, the one who questioned if God still saw you, has been buried. The you who wondered if your prayers were bouncing off the ceiling has been resurrected into someone who commands atmospheres. Because Ephesians 2:10 just activated over your life. For we are his workmanship created in Christ Jesus, for good works which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. Prepared beforehand. Not prepared yesterday. Not prepared next week. Prepared before the foundation of the world. And right now, this very second, you are stepping into works that were carved out for you before your grandparents were even born. Do you understand the weight of what I'm telling you? Your breakthrough didn't just begin. Your breakthrough has been waiting 70, 80, 90 years for this moment, for this conversation, for this yes. And here's the part that's going to make your spirit tremble. From this point forward, hesitation becomes disobedience. Delay becomes rebellion, because you now carry too much revelation to pretend you don't know what God is saying. You've heard the call, you've felt the fire, you've seen the vision, and ignorance is no longer an option. Isaiah 6:8 is thundering over your life right now. Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?" And I said, "Here am I, send me." This is your Isaiah 6:8 moment. This is your burning bush. This is your road to Damascus, and you will not walk away unchanged, because the moment you type those words, "I have crossed over," in the comments below, heaven activates what hell tried to abort. Angels receive new assignments. Doors that have been rusted shut for decades begin to creak open. Your children will feel the shift. Your grandchildren will inherit the breakthrough. Your bloodline will be marked by this moment for generations. But I need you to understand something that will either terrify you or liberate you. There is no turning back. You cannot unhear what you've heard. You cannot unsee what you've seen. You cannot unfeel what's burning in your chest right now. The old level, the old mindset, the old limitations, they cannot contain what God just downloaded into your spirit. You have outgrown your former self. You have exceeded your previous capacity. You have crossed a line that separates the called from the commissioned. And if everything starts to accelerate from today, if phone calls come that change your trajectory, if opportunities appear that have your fingerprints on them, if people start treating you differently because they sense something has shifted, are you ready? Because chosen one, this isn't theory anymore. This isn't inspiration. This is activation. And if you know in the depths of your spirit that this moment is real, that heaven just rewrote your story, that your old season just died and your new season just took its first breath, then write these 3 words below: I have crossed over. Let it be your declaration to hell that the old you is dead. Let it be your announcement to heaven that the new you is alive. Let it be your signature on a contract that was written before time began. Because chosen one, you didn't just watch a video. You just walked through a portal. And what's waiting on the other side will redefine everything you thought you knew about breakthrough. My dear friend, as we come to the end of this sacred encounter, I need you to hold on to 3 unshakable truths that will anchor your soul in the days ahead. First, your breakthrough isn't a maybe, it's a certainty. God doesn't start what He won't finish. The very fact that you felt drawn to this message is proof that heaven is moving on your behalf. Second, the silence you've walked through wasn't abandonment, it was preparation. Every closed door, every delayed answer, every moment you felt forgotten, God was positioning you for something greater than you could have imagined. Third, you carry a calling that this world desperately needs. Your age isn't a limitation, it's a qualification. Your experience isn't baggage, it's wisdom. Your scars aren't disqualifications, they're your credentials. You know there's something beautiful about reaching this season of life and discovering that God isn't done with you yet, that He's still writing chapters of your story, that your most powerful years might still be ahead of you. And if you're sitting there tonight wondering if it's too late, if God can still use someone like you, let me remind you of Caleb, who at 85 years old declared, "Give me this mountain." Your mountain is still waiting for you, but here's what I need you to understand. You're not walking this journey alone, not for one single step. There's a community of believers scattered across this great nation, from the mountains of Colorado to the shores of Florida, from the farmlands of Iowa to the bustling streets of New York, who are praying for you right now. We see you. We believe in you. And we refuse to let you walk through this season without the encouragement your spirit needs. When you type in the comments below, when you share your heart, when you ask for prayer, you're not shouting into the void. You're speaking into a family that understands your journey because we've walked similar paths. So let me ask you this: what if everything you've endured was preparing you for everything you're about to become? What if this moment, right here, right now, is the turning point you've been praying for? Voice becomes solemn, preparing for prayer. Before you go, before you return to your day, I want to place my hands on your shoulders in prayer. I want you to feel the warmth of heaven surrounding you, the peace of God settling over your spirit like a gentle blanket on a cold winter's night. Let us pray together. Father God, I stand before you now on behalf of every precious soul who has stayed with us until this moment. Lord, you see them. You know their names, their struggles, their midnight tears, their silent battles fought in the darkness of night. You've counted every tear, collected every prayer, witnessed every act of faith when faith felt impossible. Right now, Father, I ask you to wrap your arms around them. Let them feel your presence like never before. Where there has been confusion, bring crystal clarity. Where there has been delay, release divine acceleration. Where there has been doubt, flood them with unshakable confidence in who you've called them to be. Break every chain that has held them back. Shatter every lie that whispered they weren't enough. Silence every voice that said they were too old, too late, too ordinary. Open doors no man can shut. Align divine connections. Release resources. Awaken gifts that have been dormant. Pour out your spirit in ways that will leave no doubt that you are moving in their lives. Let this be the season where everything shifts, where the hidden becomes revealed, where the waiting transforms into walking in purpose. Protect their peace, guard their hearts, and give rest to their weary souls. Let them sleep tonight knowing they are deeply loved, specifically chosen, and powerfully equipped for everything you have ahead. In Jesus' mighty name, we declare breakthrough, we decree favor, and we release them into their destiny. Amen, and amen, and amen. Thank you, dear friend, for staying with me through this entire journey today. Your presence here tells me your heart is hungry for truth, and that hunger will be satisfied. If this message has stirred something deep within you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear that they're not alone. Comment below and tell us what God spoke to your heart today. Ask for prayer if you need it. We're here for you. And please consider subscribing to this channel because there are more messages coming that your spirit needs to hear. Messages of hope, of breakthrough, of divine encounter that will continue to feed your soul. Remember, you didn't stumble here by accident. Heaven guided your steps, and heaven isn't finished with you yet. Go in peace, dear one. Walk in power. You are loved beyond measure. And until we meet again, keep believing, keep trusting, keep watching for the breakthrough that's already on its way. God bless you.